taken a stance that recognized that position, and in doing so have been very tolerant of some minor regulations that would or could have been enforced and have not been enforced, respecting that position. And we would like to continue to do that, but it does have to be done within some limitations, and mainly because this is a space that has been used for many, many years for another form of speech. Now, albeit it's a commercial speech based on the the tourism goals of the city of Bethlehem, but no one's saying that you can't have your speech, just maybe a little bit.
Well, maybe if we let this happen, because this is city property, they can put the tree where they want, they put the crèche where they want, and all that. And let's see then what's left, and then we'll.
You would be there before the permit would be in place, but that's another thing. That's fine. That's acceptable. You could move to wherever you would like to move to. Especially if it's one of the two places we've already talked about. And then just on Monday, come in and have to.
But we don't have a permit here, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
So why would we need a permit there?
Well, every other protest group that's ever come within the city of Bethlehem to do what you guys are doing, or anything similar to that,
I got that,
has obtained a permit.
But why are you requesting that now if you didn't?
Well, because,
here?
like I said before,
you
guys came here. You've been here for a little while. We've all kind of been feeling each other out and see what's happening. The group is sustainable. It's here. It's grown in size, and now there's somewhat of a significant event. We knew that it was coming. We let you guys know over a week ago that it was coming, and you're gonna have to make a move. So now it's time to maybe take a look at some of the city ordinances that make sense, that we've done for every other group and that have been tested. That just get a permit, and there are also other like insurance requirements that the city requires, but those can be waived if the group is under a certain size, and at this point your group is, and there has been no there will be no requirement for the obtaining of insurance at this point, if and until the group would go to a certain level.
But doesn't the idea of having to go out and get a permit to act on your First Amendment right just derail the point of a First Amendment right in the first place? Like, I don't know. I believe in the Constitution. I thought that was what this country was about. And by going out and getting a permit to have a First Amendment right action, it seems completely ludicrous to me. That
point has been tested many times in the courts, and I understand your position completely. And what the courts have found, and there's been many cases, and it usually comes out of some group that wants to protest something that is very unpopular. A lot of it came out of Skokie, Illinois, and the Nazi movement, and they wanted to come into the town and do a march, and the city came in and said, there's permitting requirements, and there were ridiculous requirements, huge sums of money, or time periods that they had to wait until it cleared. And the courts have struck those types of restrictions down, and they said, yes, a city can require a permit for this type of activity, but it's got to be reasonable. And I think a $25 refundable fee is pretty reasonable, and so that's where we're at. The courts have spoken on these issues many times years ago, and again, I think the city of Bethlehem is well within the protected side of.
But doesn't the permit put limitations on we could stay over or not stay over? We have to leave by a certain time.
Typically they would, but there's been discussions about that, and obviously your group wants to erect some tents and remain overnight, and that's been something that the city has said that they were willing to
work.
Willing to make an exception.
Work with.
On that note,
all right.
As the commissioner was saying, we were feeling each other out, and what we're trying to achieve is we're trying to remain consistent with what we've done historically in Bethlehem and in the future with Bethlehem. We're just trying to keep it all fair for everyone. We were feeling everyone out to see how this was going. Now we're going to try to get back into the consistent mode, so everything's.
I think it'd probably be good. Maybe 3 o'clock Monday, if you set up even a little information to go to, like one of us stops by at a certain time every day down at the desk. Any new information from you gentlemen that you haven't.
Well, that's what he suggested at the very beginning.
Oh, right. But not all of us have the access to the internet and all that. Like, we could go down to the sergeant's desk and be like, hey, commish got any info for us? You know, or...
We can do that if we like, and I'm not sure we need to make a commitment to it.
So how is Monday at 3 for everyone? Is that the suggested time?
My personal suggestion is that you should maybe start earlier in the day, because it's a process and you don't want to run up against the closing of business, especially since, City Hall is closed for Election Day on Tuesday. You know, if you're going to start the process, just my suggestion, you take it, you guys talk about it, but I would personally start earlier in the day. In case there's any issues whatsoever, you have the day to deal with them, you know, not, you know, an hour and a half until the close of business in City Hall.
Right.